When Moses would go to read from the Ten Commandments, the tablets he had received from God, his body would start to glow. When he went up the mountain and received the Ten Commandments, he comes down and he's glowing with having been in the presence of God. And we're told that St. Paul talks about this, that how a veil was placed over Moses. And that to a certain extent there was a veil that was placed over most of the Jewish tradition, even at the time of Jesus. To sort of not allow the Spirit to radiate out because it was too powerful. It was too overwhelming. And so Paul talks about in this first reading that this veil was meant to be, you could say, physically removed, but it should also sort of figuratively be removed as well. That the Spirit is within us and we shouldn't be trying to reduce the power of God that's within us. The light that's meant to shine out. We're meant to lift the veil so that that light can radiate. So that people will know that we're connected with God, but they will also experience something of that light, that radiance that's come to us by us coming to Jesus, that this will then touch others as well. It's quite an interesting sort of concept of a person walking around with a veil over them. In most of, at least in our culture, most people don't walk around with a veil covering their face. Sometimes we might walk around with a face mask, but a complete veil covering our entire body, that's not quite what we do. We allow our personality to shine out, but we're also meant to, and we have this requirement, to allow God who's within us to shine out. We shouldn't hide it away. This is something to be treasured, but it's also something to be shared. So we don't place a veil on us. The gospel today talks about divisions, and there's so many divisions that can easily happen. When we come to the altar, we're called to lay aside those divisions. That we're in a common purpose, a single purpose together, the worship of God, the love of God, and the spreading of that love to others. And if we hold anger, if there is bitterness, if there's division within our hearts, we're called to set that aside and to say, no, that's not what we're really about. We hear about God. We hear about the love of God. We hear about spreading that love. Sometimes we're not of a common purpose. I think perhaps that links back to that first reading, where we're called to lift the veil and say, what are we about? We're not about hiding our faith away. We're about allowing the radiance of God to come into us and to then to shine out to others, to our world, because God is within us. Let's be of a common purpose, a common mind, searching for Christ, discovering Christ, allowing Christ to dwell within us, and then allowing Christ to spread through us into our world.